Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about two things. First of all, the Nokere Koerse, really nice Belgium one-day race on cobbles that was going on today. There was a breakaway of 6 riders and unusual for one-day races, but there was also a King of the Mountains classification in this race, which was won by David Boucher. They were pretty much in the lead until 20 kilometers to go, but the action started with about 50 kilometers to go, when there were lots of crashes and a little bit of crosswinds, both of which reduced the peloton greatly. But De Koning, Bora Hansgrohe and also sometimes Sky were controlling the race, and there were a few riders who tried to get away later on between kilometers 30 and 20 to go. Amongst them were Mathieu van der Poel and Remco Evenepoel, the two riders who most of us had their eyes on and were excited to see what they can do. But to no avail, they didn't get away. Van der Poel also, this was supposed to be his first year really riding the classics on the road. I mean, he is the best cyclocross rider of his generation, maybe of all time. But this year around he wanted to try and see what he can do on the road, and this was cut short in the end by a nasty crash he had inside the final 500 meters, maybe even 300 meters, so very close to the finish line on this cobbled uphill drag. I won't say it was really a climb, but nonetheless he crashed and he looked really much in pain, and I'm not sure yet because the race finished just 10 minutes ago or so I'm not quite sure if he can ride the rest of the Classics campaign or if his injuries are too serious for that. Yeah, Evenepoel, who is likely to be a GC contender of the future, at least that is what he is aiming to be. Huge talent, only 19 years of age, skipped the U23s and just went from the juniors to the pros. Exciting rider to watch. He tried his luck, but was later on shed out of the back, which brings us to the sprint finish. Other than the crash, there was also something to celebrate because Sunweb finally got their first win of the season with Cees Bol. The commentators on television thought it would be Walscheid sprinting against Ackermann, both the German riders, one for Sunweb and one for Bora Hansgrohe, but in the end it was Cees Bol who beat Ackermann, or who was able to beat Ackermann. Personally, I thought Alvaro Hodge could have had a chance, or Seneschal for De Koning, but they were right behind Van der Poel, so couldn't really contest the sprint. Third was another exciting rider to watch, Jasper Philipsen, who has some really interesting results early in the season. Great talent to watch. Yeah, I don't know. He's a very promising sprinter. There are quite a few young guns at the moment. Kittel is not up to his best. Cavendish, after injuries and illnesses, is not up to his best. And yeah, there are young riders like Hodge, like Jakobsen if we talk about De Koning, but also guys like Philipsen. Mareczko is only 24. Lots of riders. Ackermann is still pretty young. Bennett is pretty young. So there are up and coming riders. There's a changing of the guard when it comes to sprinting. We had that over the last few years with climbers, that especially the Spanish generation ended their career and they are looking for new talent, be it Max Soler, be it Enric Mas, guys like that. Now the Colombians are dominating the scene with Ivan Sosa, Egan Bernal, guys like that. But yeah, also in sprinting there are some names coming up. So yeah, overall it was a great race. It was a little bit sad to see the outcome that not everyone could contest the sprint, and especially the injury for Van der Poel, that he may have to skip his classics campaign. But I'm happy for Sunweb that they finally got their win. They are the last World Tour team to get a professional win this season. So yeah, it took them quite a while. But whenever, better late than never. I bet they're quite happy tonight. And the other thing I wanted to talk about today is that Ineos bought Team Sky. Team Sky will no longer be the sponsor as of the 1st of May this season. I don't know if the team will start riding under the new banner at the Tour de Romandie, which starts at the end of April, or if it will be the Tour of Yorkshire it starts at the 2nd of May. So yeah, that is where they definitely will be wearing the new jerseys with the new sponsor on it. But maybe even at the World Tour level at Romandie. That is to be decided yet. They are still in talks with the UCI. So what about this Ineos company? Well, they are owned by Jim Ratcliffe. Jim Ratcliffe is the richest person in the UK. So they have tons of money. It is said that they will sponsor about £40 million into the team, which will be almost double the amount the next highest sponsor pays for a cycling team. So there is no end of dominance from Team Sky to be expected anytime soon. They will still have the money to pay not only the best general classification riders in Froome, in Thomas, in Bernal, in Sosa. They will also have the money to pay the support riders like Kwiatkowski, who is one of the best classics riders of his generation, but during the Grand Tours he showed at Sky that he is a really valuable helper. Guys like Poles, who always has his 1 or 2 bad days during a Grand Tour, so he may never be the one who can actually win it, but he's always up there, he's helping his teammates, and yeah, they will probably buy a few more riders with even more money than they had when they were Team Sky, so the Sky train keeps on, or then Ineos train. A funny side note is last year's Tour de France, Sky had these orca whales on their jerseys and stickers on their cars that were for what is it called? To keep the environment safe, against plastic, against all that stuff. And their new sponsor now, Ineos, is one of the biggest chemical companies, one of the biggest of the entire world, actually. I looked it up. They are second largest chemical company in the world right now. So yeah, I don't know if they will go from I hate plastic bags to hey, we love plastic bags. Quite a funny side story, but other than that, there were lots of discussions if this move is good or bad for cycling, that so much money will go to one team only. Some said that the Grand Tours will be even more boring because it is even more obvious with that amount of money who will win it. They have not only the best leaders but also the best support riders for those kind of races. They were never the big classics teams, yeah, they won Liège with Poles, yeah, they won Sanremo with Kwiatkowski, so they even took a few monuments, but overall they're not really a classics team. They are a team for Grand Tours and stage races in general, but mostly Grand Tours. That is their specialty. And that is good thing because, well, you can only, if you have 25 to 30 riders, you can't do it all. If we look at Quickstep, who win the classics all season long, win stages because they have, like, every year they have 2, 3, 4 really good sprinters, guys for cobbles, guys for hilly races, but yeah, they don't have the climbers. And even if they have good climbers like they had over the years, Rigoberto Urán, they had Dan Martin, now they have Enric Mas, but those guys are alone on their own, and then it is very hard to win races. So it's already a good thing that because of specialization, not one team, it is practically impossible, no matter how much money you pour into it, that any team can win every race. That's just not possible in cycling. But yeah, the races they will target, they will probably win. They have a good chance. But in the first year, maybe even in the second year. But I certainly hope that it goes along the same, in the same way, in the same direction that it was for the Premier League, for example, in soccer or football, whatever you want to call it. Personally, I don't care. It started when Abramovich bought Chelsea. And at first people were also really curious to see, how will this pan out? Will they dominate the league and just one huge successful team and a lot of little teams who can't beat them? But the opposite happened. A lot of other companies joined the league, took it up, and now we have this huge product Premier League, which is shown on television in basically every country around the world. If on a Saturday afternoon you go into a sports bar around the world, you can be quite sure there will be Premier League games on. And there's so much money right now in that sport, in that league alone. And cycling, while I don't expect the same thing to happen, because it is a hugely different sport. You don't have stadiums, you don't have, as a viewer, there is no real possibility to meet the riders. It's very hard to go to the races because the races are around the world, and if I want to support a team, well, I can go there once or twice, maybe even 3 or 4 times a year and go to a certain race and watch that. But it's not like football where every Sunday, every Saturday I can go, buy my ticket and enjoy the race, enjoy the game for 90 minutes. Because cycling races are longer, cycling races are all over the world. Even though they're trying to change that with the Hammer series that's now going on for 1 or 2 years, I think 2 years already, that they have that, where they have little small races at one place over a few days. Many people are against it. The viewership was not very high. Not many people were into that kind of stuff on television. For the local people, of course, something new, have to watch it at first, we have to see how that pans out. But at least they're trying to think about different models for cycling to make it more attractive for another kind of audience than it is right now. Because in television, because it is also such, it's an endurance sport, it's not over quickly. It's not like soccer or football it's right there where you 90 minutes with halftime, so yeah, 2 hours. But cycling races, they are more than double the length. If you want to watch the entire coverage, it's like you have to sit there 5 hours, 6 hours. We talked about Sanremo in the last video. That will be even longer, the race. If you want to watch it all, you would have to spend your whole day doing that. And also, most of the time in cycling, it is only exciting in the last 50 kilometers, like today. Sometimes on a completely flat stage, only the last 2 kilometers, when the lead-out trains start to form, then it becomes interesting. Or the real push for the line, the last 250 meters. And so the stage is 180 kilometers, 200 kilometers, but you really only need to watch the last 500 meters because nothing else happens other than 200 guys riding around on the roads. I guess there are more interesting things to do, and that is why it's really hard for cycling to capture viewers. And well, I got quite off point. I just wanted to talk about the race and Team Sky, or Team Ineos, what they will be called in the future. But yeah, I guess that's it for me for today. I'm out.